There is a difference between judgment and discernment. When you judge someone, you automatically put yourself on the higher place, on this judge's box, and you judge the person below you. That is not done with unconditional love. Usually, when you judge someone, and I think I can strike the usually, when you judge someone, you automatically think that you are the voice of reason, and the person that you judge isn't there yet, doesn't have the same voice of reason, therefore you are qualified to judge them and tell them how to live their lives and how to better themselves. But the truth is, who are you to do that? Who are you to think that you know better? Everything that we do, and I will talk about myself with my videos are just a journal of my own spiritual awakening. I know that in my videos I said you should do this and that. It's just a way of speaking. You are free to listen to what I say and apply it to your life, but you don't have to take my words for gospel. And that is something that I want to touch upon in this video, is the importance to always have discernment, meaning that you use your own mental, intellectual, reflective capacity to see if the person that you apply discernment to is based on unconditional love, the right thing to do. So for instance, if you see someone that is destroying their lives using drugs, you shouldn't judge them because you don't know why they use drugs. You don't know why they reached a level in their life where they thought that using drugs would be a solution. It's better never to judge people because we never know what happened to them. We never know where they come from. And as much as you can try to put yourself in somebody else's shoes, it's always an impossibility to know for a fact what happened to them and what made them do this or that action. However, when you use discernment with the same person, the person who is a drug addict, for instance, you realize that what they are doing is a lack of self-love, a lack of unconditional love to themselves. And by that way of discerning that what they are doing is not done because of self-love, but because of self-destruction, you know how to deal with them. What I mean by that is that you know if you want to help them or if you don't want to help them. But during this process of decision, you shouldn't think, again, see, I said should, but take it for what it is. You shouldn't think that you are so much better than them because you don't do drugs, for instance. Because you know that drugs will destroy you. Again, you don't know why they decided to use drugs. You don't know that. You don't know where they come from. You don't know what they had to go through in their lives. And so the best way to deal with a person like that, this is just one example, is, as I said, you use discernment. Do they use self-love? Do they use unconditional love? No. Okay. Can I help them? Yes. No. And throughout this decision process, there is no moment of putting yourself on a pedestal because you don't do drugs and they do. Because when you do that, you forget unconditional love. Unconditional love should always be what rules your life. When you have unconditional love for the drug addict, for instance, you love them for the drop of source that they are. You love them for how can I say this? Because it can be misconstrued, but okay, I'll take the risk. You love them for the fact that they embody the higher self that chose to experience this material world through the use of drugs. It is a little hard for people to understand that because it is a very slippery slope. And when I talk about that to, people, oftentimes they will tell me, well, then you should also love someone who kills others because they are the higher self experiencing itself through the life of a killer, right? To that I say, if you use discernment, you will realize that such a person, regardless of the fact that the higher self is experiencing itself through that person is not serving the higher good, is not loving unconditionally. And so, based on that discernment, you should choose what to do with them. I'm walking on eggshells in this video about that because it is such a slippery topic. Of people will tell me, what about World War II? What about, people doing horrible things to others, to children and stuff. So it's a very, very slippery slope. But again, I repeat what I said in previous videos, is that to love someone for the drop of source that they are doesn't mean that you should like them, one, and doesn't mean that, provided that you can do something about it, should let them do things that are unloving to your fellow humans and to yourself. So when I talk about judgment and discernment, I'm also talking about self-love and self-protection. When you discern that this person is like this or like that, you just understand who they are, or at least you understand that what they are doing is in alignment with unconditional love or not, and then you take appropriate action. Appropriate action can be non-action too. When you judge someone, you automatically think you are better than that person, and that is a very slippery slope. Because when you think that you are better than someone, you are always wrong. You are always wrong. And you know what? I was guilty of that in the past. I at times thought I was better, And what I realized is that, first of all, being better than is completely subjective. And second of all, we need different life paths for people in this 3D, third dimension world for the higher self to experience everything it can. So there is always a reason why a person you would deem to be living a bad life or a good life exists. It's because the higher self experience itself in any way possible. Also, you have to keep in mind that if on the 5D level there is no such thing as duality, opposites, on this third density world, we live in a world of duality, meaning that if there is good, there has to be bad. let me rephrase this. If there is something that we qualify as good, there has to be something we qualify as bad, right? Something that we discern, we have discernment. This is good, this is bad. Because we would never be able to know what is good if we didn't know what bad is, and vice versa, right? We would never know what it is to be full after you ate a good meal if we had never experienced hunger. And so on and so forth. And so, to get back to the theme of this video, discernment over judgment. When you discern, you stay true to who you are, and you use the unconditional love gauge to discern if this person or that person is doing something that is lovingly or unlovingly. And that is what you do, that is where you stop at. Then of course, then you can take actions if you choose to do so, but that is where you should stop. Whereas when you judge, you think you are better than people. And when you think that you are better than people, you are not acting out of unconditional love. Because if you love everyone for the drop of source that they are, you know that we are all one. We are all the same. And if we are all the same and all one, we cannot be better than each other. That is a very 3D / ego-driven thing to think that you can be better than someone.